what every entrepreneur parent should know. Everyone is talking about Ozempic and Wegovy these days. Some people call them miracle drugs. Others say they're dangerous. But almost nobody is talking about what's actually happening inside the body. And if you're an entrepreneur parent, this decision really matters. Not just for weight loss, but for long-term energy, performance, and metabolic health. What do these drugs actually do? Let's simplify this. Ozempic and Wegovy are GLP-1 receptor agonists. They mimic a hormone that your body already produces. That hormone helps regulate things like appetite, insulin, blood sugar, and stomach emptying. So yes, they do reduce hunger. And yes, people actually lose weight. But that's only part of the story. Okay, so what they don't do. These drugs do not build muscle, improve cardiovascular fitness, increase metabolic flexibility, teach sustainable eating habits, automatically improve your relationship with food. They suppress appetite. They do not build capacity. And that distinction matters. The part that most people don't talk about. When appetite drops quickly, total food intake drops. When protein intake drops, muscle mass can also drop. And muscle is your metabolic engine. For entrepreneur parents over 35, that's huge. Muscle supports insulin sensitivity, energy, hormonal balance, long-term metabolic resilience. Weight loss is not always the same as health gain. What happens when people stop? That's the big question, right? Many people regain weight after stopping medication, and all the weight, not because the drug failed, but because lifestyle capacity was never built underneath it. If nothing changed structurally, the body returns to baseline. That's physiology, not failure. So should you take it? Here's the balanced answer. For some individuals, especially those with like type 2 diabetes or obesity, these medications can be metabolically appropriate. They can actually reduce cardiovascular risk. They can be clinically helpful. But they are not a shortcut to high performance. If you choose to use them, you still need strength training, adequate protein, sleep, stress management, metabolic education, possibly a coach. Otherwise, you are managing symptoms, not building resistance. But the real question here is, do these drugs actually work? The real question is, are you building a body that can sustain energy for business and for your family for the next 20 years? Suppressed appetite is not the same thing as metabolic strength. If you're considering these medications, have an informed decision with your healthcare provider. Understand the benefits, understand the trade-offs, and most importantly, build the habits that create long-term capacity. If you're a high-performance entrepreneur parent, your health is not optional. It's foundational. This is something that really hits home for me because I have a brother who's 40 years old now, been overweight for the majority of his life, like well overweight, like obese. And he recently started taking these drugs like Wegovy, and he's been on it for like a year maybe. But the problem is that the insurance was funding these drugs. It was paying for it for him, which is expensive for him at least. And they're gonna stop paying. I think they've already stopped paying, and they're not covering the costs anymore. And he's worried that he's just gonna gain all the weight back, and I'm worried about that too because he can't control himself when it comes to hunger. He's got like one of those addictive personalities, and his health is already kind of on the shaky side, and now he's not going to be able to buy these meds because he can't really afford them. So I'm concerned that his health is really gonna go into a downward spiral, and he's really gonna have some health problems, especially because he's no spring chicken. He's 40 years old now, and I'm really concerned about it. Not sure if you can relate. Is there anyone in your family or in your life that you really care about that is either taking these drugs or in a situation like my brother, where the insurance is not covering the drug anymore, and so they're gonna have to stop taking it? How do you feel about that? Maybe you can drop a comment. Let me know if you have someone in your life. Is there something that some kind of feedback you can give me that would be helpful as well? This is a two-way street. Either way, my name is Steve Saka. I am a national board certified health and wellness coach, certified personal trainer, and certified nutrition coach. This is what I do. This is my life. My life is health. Health is my life. I'm crazy about nutrition. I study it religiously. And that's what I do for others as well. So if you like, you can, if you would like an easy to follow 10-minute workout, check the description for a link and check it out.